It's finally time. Let's go.
Hey there, thanks for turning down my road. If this is your first time here, my name's Carl. My little brother and I both work for local farmers full time, but we both also farm together with our cattle herd and our hay operation. Everybody's involved, from the smallest to the biggest. If you don't have the joy of farming yourself, I'd love to help you experience it through this channel. Whatever your background, you found the right place. This is Dodge Brothers Farm and Ranch.
Well, as you can see, this field is not the most fun one to start harvest with. The rows are all tangled up, the corn is knocked down and pushed around. This is the field that got beat up by 2 storms back to back in early July. It got blown down, it had rootworm damage to begin with, which is why it blew down so easily. And then just as it was goosenecking around and trying to stand back up, a second storm came ripping through that had quite a bit of hail in it. So this field has been through a lot, and even though it's not our lowest moisture field, we want to get it taken out right away, just in case things turn wet, and we need to get this corn up off the ground right now while it's still in good shape. That's what we're doing today. It's not a lot of fun, but it's sure a lot better than a lot of the corn in central Iowa that got torn up by the derecho storm.
See, if I was trying to steer this thing right now by myself, I don't know what in the world I would do. There I can see some rows now for a little bit, but there's a lot of spots out here where you just can't see anything in terms of rows. You just see a pile of corn. Here's some rows, that would be good, but they're kind of all over the place. Man, technology is great. And it's, like I say, it's doing a really good job of scooping the corn up. Well, it looks like we're going to be taking a little break.
Well, I give the weather forecasters a D+ for that forecast. The only thing they got right was that there was a chance of rain. And it did rain. It was supposed to be less than 1/10 of an inch if it did rain. And we got just about 1/2 an inch, right at 1/2 an inch. It rained for almost 3 hours. That's too much moisture to be able to get the semi into the field to load this corn on it. And we can't leave the wet corn in the grain cart. It'll turn into a cupcake and it won't come out. So we are dragging the grain cart home right now so that we can load the semi in the yard, get it weighed on the scale, and get it ran through the dryer. We may have to go somewhere else tomorrow because we need that down corn to be nice and dry, the stalks and everything, so they'll slide up into the head. So we might have to go find some corn that's standing better tomorrow, which is pretty much everything else that we have. Well, it is definitely way too wet to harvest here today. We're not going to be able to get this dried out enough to do a good job. So we're going to go over to the neighbors, the guy that we do some custom farming for. He's got a small field nearby to the home farm that is really sandy ground, and it started to die early. The moisture is pretty low on it. And we're going to go and see if we can get that field taken out today, and then hopefully by tomorrow we can either get back here or we can get onto another one of our fields. So it's not a good day to get in and out of the field with the semi. Fortunately, this field that we're headed to is right next to his dryer, so we're either going to use the wagon or the cart to just run right into his yard with it.
Man, it's so much fun to combine corn that's standing straight. Look at that. Look how fun that is. We're going almost 5 miles an hour.
Well, got the combine settings dialed in pretty good. Normally with this place, we would leave the wagon parked at the auger and I would just run in with the grain cart and dump into the wagon. But we're having some issues with the yield monitor on the combine to the point where we can't really trust it. So the only way that this fellow is going to know exactly how much corn he has is if we run it all over the scale. So I'm actually leaving the grain cart in the field and I'm hauling the corn in with the wagon so that I can fit over the truck scale and weigh each load as we go through. With the wagon, this camera is absolutely vital because the wagon sits up taller than the semi, and there's no way you can tell if you're about to run it over until you actually run it over. So having this camera out on the end of the auger is imperative when you're trying to fill the wagon. See, look at how it's just about, there we go, now I can see the pile on top, and I just about ran it over. If I wouldn't have had that video screen to tell me that I was just about there, I would have just ran it over big time. So is the moisture about 23, 24%?
It says it's averaging 24 and a half. So what are you getting?
I haven't tested any.
Oh, okay.
It was right on at the other field, so I'll believe the combine. I may have loaded this load slightly lopsided. Whoops. Okay, so it's raining right now. I've been on the phone for the last hour with a service tech at John Deere, going through a bunch of stuff, trying to get to the bottom of this yield monitor issue, why it seems to be all over the place. So we've gone through a bunch of stuff, and there's some calibrations that I'm gonna have to do to the sensor tomorrow morning before we get started. And then we're gonna do some loads on the semi and weigh them and try to calibrate that way with wet weight and see if we can get it back in check. If not, there's probably something wrong with the actual sensor itself. So hopefully that's not the case, but it's raining now, it's getting cold, it's supper time. I'm going home, we'll worry about it tomorrow. So the raccoon found the combine last night again while it was parked out by the fuel barrel. Man, that makes me mad. I think I'm gonna set up a trap on the combine, a live trap, with some marshmallows or something in it. I'm gonna get this guy. I'm out in the field and we're just gonna try running some of these calibrations on this combine for the yield monitor and seeing if we can get this thing fixed. Okay, we're supposed to go into the calibrations and I'm supposed to calibrate there's a temperature sensor calibration on there that I'm supposed to be able to do. Moisture sensor temperature, there we go. Okay. Sensor's temperature is saying 50 degrees. So if I look at the weather right now, let's see what we're actually at the airport. 55. So let's fix that. It's probably not going to make a huge difference, but we'll give that a go. And then I'm supposed to do the mass flow vibration calibration. Okay. Alright, the calibration is complete, so now we're going to go ahead and begin a yield calibration. We're going to start harvesting, and it's going to keep track of the weight, and then we'll enter the accurate weight once we get a reading off the semi. $36,160. Well, that seemed to fix the combine pretty easily, so I spent the rest of the day in the semi hauling corn. Guys, look at that awesome rainbow. I'm on the way to the field to get the last load of corn for the day. It just rained just a very little bit. Look at that thing. That is awesome. Well, we got that cornfield picked with all the tangled up, mangled up corn. Took the corn head off and I'm on my way to another field. We're gonna try to cut some beans today. I think they're ready. Hopefully they are. They're cutting pretty well. It's not perfect conditions. The sun keeps going behind the clouds and it's not quite as windy as it was earlier, and it's not really warm, but with this draper we're able to do a pretty good job even when things aren't absolutely perfect. Well, it hasn't been perfect, nothing is, but all in all it's been a pretty good start to harvest 2020, considering all we've already been through. Another few weeks like this and we'll have the crop in the bins. I hope you'll join us. I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for riding along. I'll see you next time.